This is probably the one item that I'm so glad I brought that no one told me to bring. I just thought about bringing it, and without this, I would have been so screwed so many different times. Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be all about the tips and tricks that I learned or that I was told before going to field training that were really helpful to me. And then I'm also going to be sharing with you guys some items that I brought with me that helped me out a ton while I was down there. I'm also going to be sharing some items that I wish I would have brought with me once I was down there, but I didn't, but I'm sharing it with you to help you guys out. But first, if any of you are interested in military videos in general, specifically maybe Navy videos, there's this weird guy, his name's DWK Videos, I don't know, he puts out military videos, fitness videos, and he just started a gaming channel, and he's gonna be doing live streams. But in all seriousness, he's a pretty cool dude, so if you wanna check out his gaming channel or his main channel, they'll both be linked down below. Also, this video is gonna be more so for people that are already familiar with field training. This is gonna be more of tips and tricks for while you're down there, but I'm doing a separate video for people that maybe aren't too familiar with field training, but I'm going to be explaining more of the terms, like what a CTA is, and more of how field training actually works, and going through more of day-by-day type of stuff. But the best part about that video is I'm going to be telling the stories that happen down there. Some of them are funny, some of them are just like awkward things that happen, but I'm about to film that video, somebody wearing the same thing, but that'll be up after this video, so be on the lookout for that. If you want to hear about my stories that happened during field training, be sure to subscribe, and yeah, look out for that video. Okay, now on to this video. Alright, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is tips and tricks that are kind of motivational, I guess. Not really things that I learned, but kind of just like, I don't know, you'll see when I say them. And I have everything like written down, so if you see me looking down, that's why. But it's just a lot of information that's gonna be in this video, and I didn't want to forget anything, so I wrote it all down. One of the most important things, well, I mean, everything that I'm gonna say is pretty important, but one of the most important things is be a dynamic follower. And by that, it means don't just be someone in the flight that doesn't give any input or any suggestions. Just make sure if your flight commander is drowning, don't let them drown, help them succeed. But also don't step on their toes while you're doing that. For example, and this example is gonna be very vague because I can't really talk too much about field training. I don't want to give anything away because that'll just ruin your experience. So a very general example for this is if there's something wrong in the flight and your flight commander doesn't realize it, or your flight commander needs to do something, don't say, hey, you need to do that thing, or hey, you need to do this. You want to tell them, like, give them a suggestion and kind of make it seem like their idea, like, I don't know how to, you know what, okay, fine. If your flight commander doesn't cover the flight, the CTA or FTO is like, are you missing something? Are you forgetting something? You don't want to just say, cadet, whoever, you need to cover the flight. You don't say you need to cover the flight because that's like stepping on their toes. You want to say the flight is out of alignment or something along those lines. Make sure you know the line between feeding them answers and stepping on their toes. Along with being a dynamic follower and being a leader, when you are in those leadership positions, like when you're flight commander, make sure you're utilizing your flight and using your resources, because there might be things that you're not doing that you need to do and you don't realize it, and they can really help you. So if they ask to make a statement, don't just ignore them, because it could really be helping you out. And this doesn't apply just when you're marching a flight. This applies all the time, because there's so many different situations down there when you're yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Make sure you're utilizing your flight and taking their input and using their ideas. When you're down there, you're gonna be getting yelled at by the CTAs and FTOs, and your flight is gonna be your safe place, I guess. You wanna try as hard as you can to make your flight, don't force it, but your flight is gonna be like your family, and treat them like your family. Don't be rude to them, don't be stuck up, and if there's someone that you don't like, just get over it and don't dwell too much on that, because your flight is your family and you need to treat them like family, and it's gonna make things a lot smoother while you're down there. Just keep in mind and remember that your flight is your family. And honestly, my flight got really close, and I loved my flight. I heard there was other girls who I talked to from different squadrons who were saying in their flight the guys weren't like nice to them or whatever, because there was only 4 girls per flight, which didn't really make sense to me. At my detachment there was a lot more girls, like it was like half girls, half guys, but down at field training pretty much every flight had only 4 girls. But anyways, so there's not going to be very many girls, and other girls were saying how the guys in their flight would treat them like they're less or whatever, but our guys were honestly really cool. Everyone just was very supportive, and if there was something you couldn't do, they wouldn't roll their eyes and be like, oh, why can't you do this, or why aren't you running fast enough, or why aren't you doing this fast enough. They would support you and encourage you, and it was really great. So yeah, I had a great flight. I was in Tango flight, by the way, I didn't mention that, but yeah, it was great. Another thing is, when you're down there, like I said, you're gonna be getting yelled at, and don't let a bad moment turn into having a bad day. You need to have a good attitude, and if something bad happens, like if someone pulls a 341 on you, just acknowledge what you did wrong, fix it, and just move on, have a positive attitude, bring good energy, and that's the best thing you can do. You're gonna get a 341. I mean, I don't think there was one person down there who didn't, and our flight actually got a lot more 341s than any other flight, because our CTA, he was really hard on us in the beginning. He ended up being really cool at the end, but like our flight pretty much hated him, and he might see this, so hey, but he knows that we don't hate him anymore. But like, he was really hard on us in the beginning, so we got a lot of 341s, and we didn't let it get to us. Moving on to the tips and tricks that I have from what I learned, and things that are more like, I don't know, you'll see. You can change the thermostat in your room. I didn't know that, and I was freezing in the beginning, like, because it's set on 50, and honestly, like, you're in Alabama, so you want it to be cold in there. Like, what we did was, my roommate and I, which by the way, Cadet Parker, I love my roommate, she was great. She actually ended up being group commander for a day, so she was like amazing. She went to the academy, and then she had an injury, so then she ended up not continuing with the academy because she couldn't finish basic. But anyways, she was really cool, she was really good, she was like amazing. But anyways, so her and I would turn it down at night and then just turn it back, or turn it up, I don't know, we would make it like a little bit warmer at night because we were freezing the first couple of nights. But you can change the thermostat, so, and it's inside your room, you'll see it's by the door. Your CTA may or may not tell you things. I mean, this probably will happen. So you're gonna be taught things one way, and then you're gonna get down there and it's gonna be completely different. With marching, you're gonna be taught to say something a certain way, and your CTA will be like, no, say it this way. And don't argue with them, just do it, and remember that that's the way that you have to do it. Just go with what they say and remember the differences. There's not too much I can say about this, but I'm just gonna say it out there and let you ponder it. Warrior knowledge is important, but it's not the most important thing. Road guard procedures, DFAC procedures, dining procedures, like DFAC entry procedures and then dining procedures are more important in my opinion. Another thing that I would highly suggest doing is laminate your FTM. This is something our det actually told us to do. So some of these things are things that I learned while I was there that no one told me, and then some of these things are things that my detachment told me and other people didn't do it. But so I would highly suggest getting clear packing tape and wrapping your front cover with it and your back cover with it, because it's gonna rain, it's gonna get dirty, it's whatever, you wanna protect it, whatever. And then also I got tabs, and some people did this, some people didn't do it, but I really found it helpful. I tabbed different important sections. Don't tab every single chapter. Don't do that, because then you're just gonna be overwhelmed with how many tabs you had. I had a lot of tabs, but none of them overlapped each other. It was different procedures. I had like the VW section tabbed, so I would do tabs and label them. And then I also was told to put a pocket in the back of my FTM, and I did that, but my pocket was crap. I used an index card, and then I used Scotch tape, and the Scotch tape like didn't stick well enough. I literally did it such last minute because I stayed up all night packing, because I was very last minute. I didn't go to bed until like 2 in the morning the night before I left, and I had to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go get my flight and everything. So I had like no sleep the first day, but I'm actually gonna be doing a separate video for all of my stories and different things that happen at field training. But anyway, so another really, really important thing, this is one of the more important things, is learn the top 6 as soon as you can. Just learn the top 6. Okay, next thing. Going along with that, learn all the CTAs and FTOs in your squadron as soon as you can. Going along with that, learn all of the CTAs or the main CTAs in the DFAC. Try and learn all of them. There's gonna be hard names. They like picking CTAs with hard names or ones that look alike. Learn their names, learn their faces, because sometimes they'll be wearing ABUs and sometimes, a lot of the time, they'll be wearing PTGs. You're not gonna know what their last name is and you're gonna need to greet them, and you don't wanna ask them TD5, well, I don't know, TD5 you might not know all the CTAs in the DFAC, but you don't want to have to keep asking what their name is because you're just going to get yelled at. I don't know, if it's a weird name, that sucks. I don't know what to tell you, but learn their names, and if you know their names, then when you're greeting them, greet them as loud as you can so that the other cadets don't have to have the problem of not knowing the name. So if you know a name, say it loud and you'll save a bunch of other cadets' butt from getting yelled at. The first couple of days you're going to be just wearing blues. You're not going to wear your ABUs until like TD3. And so you're wearing them TD 0, 1, and 2. So that's 3 days of wearing your your blues, and my shoes, everyone's shoes, suck. They're like, obviously everyone knows that the shoes aren't the greatest, and so I got blisters, really bad blisters, and I even wore 2 pairs of socks. I wore a pair of, I think I wore PT socks, and then I wore my dress socks over those. You're gonna get blisters. Pre-cut your moleskin and make sure you cut enough of it, because don't think that you can cut it with nail clippers, because that crap doesn't work. I tried cutting moleskin with nail clippers, and one, it came out really, it doesn't work. So pre-cut moleskin and pre-cut a lot, and buy more than you think you're gonna need, because it's gonna save you in the long run. All right, when you're marching, don't look around because they'll see it. Don't wipe your sweat because they're gonna see it. You're gonna be sweating and it's gonna be going in your eye and it's gonna burn. And you're gonna wanna wipe it out of your eye. Don't. Just don't. So something that I did, I mean, I'm not telling you that you have to do this, was I journaled. I bought a tiny little notebook. The first day I wrote bullets. Yeah, I guess I'll talk about this in my story. Or I guess I could talk about TD0 right now. TD0 wasn't that bad. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. You get to Atlanta, they yell at you a little bit, but it wasn't bad. You go to the USO, you get food, eat the food, because that's gonna be like your lunch. I don't know, you get an MRE once you get to Maxwell, but depending on what time you get there, you might not get to eat for a while. And I didn't eat at the USO because I was just nervous. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't eat, so I was pretty hungry the first night, and then they gave you MREs, and my MRE was actually, I got chicken pesto pasta, highly recommend. But yeah, so TD0 wasn't that bad. You go to the USO and then you go back, you do a bunch of stuff. There was 2 different tables you had to go to. And honestly, if you mess up, it's not gonna be that big of a deal because you're never gonna see those people again. I don't think I ever saw those people again. And they're not gonna remember you anyways because there are hundreds of cadets all flying in one day. So if you mess up, TD0, do not sweat it until you get to like Maxwell. Then just try not to mess up. But Atlanta, it doesn't matter. Although I probably shouldn't be saying that. You know what? Try your hardest. But if you mess up, it's okay. And then you get on the bus. I sat in the very farthest back seat you possibly can. I don't know how many seats it had, but it was a pretty big bus. It was one of the ones that had like a bathroom. It was really, really big. And I sat all the way in the back. And I couldn't hear a thing at all when they were explaining what squadron you're gonna be in, because you find out your flight when you get to Atlanta. When you're on the bus, they're trying to explain to you what squadron you're gonna be in and how that works, and I couldn't hear any of it. I had to like keep asking up like, hey, what'd they say? And you're not supposed to be talking, so like, I don't know. So I would suggest trying to sit towards the front if you can. You're gonna know your address before you go there. It's gonna be in the FTM and tell you how to write it. Before you leave, I would highly suggest giving out your address to your friends, your family. Just give your address out to as many people as you can and tell them to write you. Try and make them to write you. Just tell, like none of my family wrote me, but like I knew that was gonna happen. My dad didn't even have my address. My best friend wrote me a lot and she sent me pictures of her cat, which was so cute. It was just like little things that made me smile and really picked me up at the end of the day. Getting letters is the best thing ever. Oh, another thing about letters. I know of at least 3 people who wrote me and I never got their letter. You might not get letters, and I don't know what the problem was, because there was one other cadet from my detachment that was there at the same max as me, and he got a letter that was sent out the same day. Another cadre member in our detachment wrote both of us and sent out the letter the same day. I never got mine and it ended up getting returned back to her. He got his though. I don't know, it was really weird. Like maybe they thought that I wasn't there. When you get time, start trying to think of chants for your flight. Make sure you have good chants. Next thing, kind of going along with that, make sure you have good Jodies and make sure you know Jodies. Running Jodies are great, but everyone had running Jodies. In our squadron, there was only like 2 people, maybe 2 people that had marching Jodies, and we needed marching Jodies a lot more often than we needed running Jodies. So have marching Jodies and not just running Jodies. You'll be greatly appreciated. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna mention it again because it is something that's so important. Do not be a DG hunter. Just don't. Your flight's gonna see right through it. Just be a genuine person. Another thing that's probably said the most often while you're at field training is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you're gonna be uncomfortable a lot of the time, so just keep that in mind. Your socks are gonna turn orange and your towels are gonna turn yellow. They bleach, or they just throw all your clothes in a pot of water and bleach and I don't know. Oh, laundry. I think last year or the year before that, they had issues with laundry. You wouldn't get it back the next day or whatever. We turned it in the morning and then we got it back that same day. So laundry was pretty good. You're gonna have lessons while you're down there, and just make sure you pay attention. Make sure you pay attention and take notes. Don't fall asleep. Don't ever fall asleep, ever. Before you go to field training, make sure all of your cables on your ABUs and like on your blues are gone. Make sure you take care of that beforehand. Oh no, why is my battery dying? I have so much more to talk about. All right, I'm gonna try and go through this really quick. After you have a leadership role, you can ask your CTA or FTO for feedback, and I would highly suggest doing that because you wanna know about the areas that you're lacking in because you wanna be able to fix them. So asking for feedback will be really beneficial to you in the long run, and they can tell you what you're doing well and what you need to improve on. Make sure you look good for your initial interview that you have. Make sure because you have like, once you get there, you get 15 minutes to get in your blues. And ladies, you should already have your hair in a bun. When you get to your room, you're not unpacking or anything yet. You're just getting ready for your interview. And you're gonna have 15 minutes, which is honestly enough time. I would iron your blues or just, I don't know, make sure you look good. Even if you have a job that you might not think is important, just make the most of every job that you have. Try and think of creative ways to do it. Once you're done with that job, create a continuity sheet. Write down everything that was helpful to you and what you think might be helpful to your fellow cadets. All right, so on to the last thing I'm really gonna talk about is, which honestly I think my camera's gonna die before I get to this, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try and wrap it up. The next section of this is gonna be things that I wish I would have brought, and then also things that I did bring that I'm really glad I brought that weren't in the FTM. First thing is lens cleaner for your glasses, because your glasses are gonna get dirty. And for example, I was spraying bug spray on myself, and you have a glasses strap, so it's not the easiest to take off your glasses. So I just like covered my glasses and I sprayed it, and I got a little bit on my glasses. And then also another time someone else was spraying bug spray and it like got on my glasses. And so that's kind of annoying because you have all these spots all over your glasses. And if you wipe it with your shirt, that's the worst thing you could do. I wish I would have just left it with all. Okay, let me just tell you about the past 3 hours that I've had. So my camera ended up dying. I went back home to look for my charger because I didn't want to end up filming on my phone, which I am. Went home, couldn't find my charger. My plan was to go to Best Buy, buy a charger, and then if I couldn't end up finding my charger, then I would just keep the charger I bought because I need one anyways. And if I did find it, then I would just return the charger that I had bought from Best Buy. I bought the charger from Best Buy, and then I didn't have anywhere to charge it, so I charged it at Best Buy, and then I stood there for like an hour because I was charging it at Best Buy, and I literally just stood there. It was the most awkward thing ever. And an hour passes, and I go to take it out, and I put my battery in my camera, and my camera's still dead. It turns on, but it flashed the low battery thing. Basically, I stood there for an hour, felt really awkward, and then it also didn't end up working, which really stunk. But yeah, back to the regular video. I don't remember where it cut off at. I'm pretty sure I was talking about glasses and making sure you buy the lens wipes, and I think I was in the middle of explaining why. Just buy lens wipes because when you try and wipe them off, you can't really clean them that well, and soap and water doesn't really work that well either. Another thing that I ended up doing that I'm really glad I brought with me was having bug spray that was a combination with sunscreen, and I know that the brand Bullfrog does that. That's the brand that I got. It's quicker because you just spray one thing all over you. Another thing that's really important is you are out in grass a lot of the time, crawling around. I got like bumps all over me from the grass, and like I also got bug bites. It would be a good idea to bring cortisone, I think it is, the anti-itch stuff. I didn't bring any with me personally, but my roommate or my suite mates did. So the next thing that I'm really glad I decided to bring or thought of to bring was 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash. I think mine was just 2-in-1. It was shampoo and body wash, and honestly, you don't get that much time at all to shower at night. I think you get like 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to have 4 people shower. And with girls, like, I guess this doesn't really affect guys, but coming from a girl's perspective, gosh, I couldn't say that. Coming from a girl's perspective, you have to wash your hair, and then you also have to wash your body and everything. You only have 4 minutes to shower. Another thing, I'm pretty sure everyone already knows about this, but if you are one of the few people that don't know about it, bring vitamin gummies, because they're pretty much like candy, and you can't have candy or any sweets or anything while you're there, but you're allowed to bring vitamin gummies. And my roommate actually brought a huge thing of vitamin gummies, like the 121. We like shared that, whatever, but bring vitamin gummies. The next things that you should bring are duct tape, that's like creative duct tape, and Sharpies, because yes, just bring creative duct tape and Sharpies. This is something that I wish I would have had, but I didn't, is a mini lint roller. I meant to buy one and I actually forgot. The last thing that I'm gonna say that you should bring, or the last thing that I have written down that you should bring, is this is probably the one item that I'm so glad I brought that no one told me to bring. I just thought about bringing it, and without this, I would have been so screwed so many different times. It's an erasable pen. You have to write stuff pretty much every day, and if you mess up, you're not allowed to just cross it out, and then you're gonna have to redo the whole entire thing. That happened to me the first day, and even though I brought erasable pens, I forgot, because they also give you pens, I forgot to use the erasable pen that I had because I was just using the pen that they gave you, because that's the pen that I had with me, and I had to rewrite this one thing I think 2 times when I was already at the end. It was the worst, and I was so mad at myself for forgetting about the erasable pen, because I could have just erased my mistake and continued going without having to start over. And you're crunched on time when you're there, so having an erasable pen is so helpful. That is it for this video. If you're someone who is headed off to field training soon, the last bit of advice I guess I have for you is stay confident, stay calm, don't stress about the little things. Field training is what you make of it, so don't be all mopey and think that it's a horrible experience. Just try and make the most of every day and stay positive, and it will be a positive experience. So good luck, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.